Talk Funding Backstory with Parker from Tego and the Tego Roll and Go Ultimate Travel Bag. It's a really fascinating backstory. So let's go. Let's get on with the show. Hello, Talk Funders. Here we are again with Parker from Tego and his really excellent third generation travel bags. In the deep dive, we really had a look at the bag itself, and in this third iteration of the very successful Tego travel bag is the sliding sections, which is one of the reasons why this campaign has done so well. So really, Parker, in terms of users, I mean, and really in this backstory, I really want to explore like your methodology and approach, which is really unique and really refreshing. You were just mentioning off camera there about like trying to find extreme users to really like test prototypes, etc. And you have a great story to share with us.
Well, I think the biggest thing that we did was pull 35 users into a Slack channel for a year, and that was just super helpful. But I use this philosophy called design thinking, where it's a 5-step process of develop empathy for your users, define the problem that you're trying to solve, prototype, test. Did I leave one out? Anyway, it's a pretty defined process. It's a great methodology so one trick is finding extreme users. And one extreme user that we found is a drag queen named Nyx in LA. And she loved it, loved the role, and put all of her makeup in it. And then just recently did an advertisement for us about how she's using the bag. And you would never think about, extreme users, like drag queens as extreme users. Turns out they carry a ton of makeup and are always looking for better ways to carry it. So, you can find extreme users in all different kinds of places. So another one that we found was a guy named Alex, who was an electrical lineman. He's the guy that gets dangled down from helicopters when they drop into natural disasters. And he's got to live out of his kit for, weeks on end. So he's always looking for ways to carry his tools, his toiletries, his technology doodads, and his thoughts were just instrumental in some of these, in particular the sections. We had a woman who's a hunter in there and carries a lot of supplies for skinning and dressing animals. We had an ambulance, first responder who wanted to carry first aid supplies. I mean, it was just the gamut in there. I tried really hard to fill it with people who had interesting stories and interesting use profiles, and I found them.
And I think that's sort of testament to the quality of the product. And that's why people are coming back. This is for your third successful campaign, is because it's like for all those examples you've used, like those are rough, tough environments and use cases. and those people love your product. So for like a normal, ordinary Joe guy like myself, I'm sort of going, well, if it's going to work for those guys, last for those guys, boy, it's going to just help me. I can use this no problem for years.
Yeah.
And I think that, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead. That's my hope, is that we'll be able to market towards, it's an extendable, it's a carry system. It's not just a bag. And so it's trivial to add new sections. So as we uncover different needs, we can create more sections for them. So, if you're a collector of watches and you want a padded section to carry your watches in it, that's great. As long as there's, a couple hundred of you guys, I can certainly do that. We had interest from fly fishermen. We have interest from overlanders that carry tools and gear. We can accommodate all of those, and I'm really looking forward to being able to make new sections for all of them.
And I think that's the exciting thing about this new third generation that you've got going, is it's the modular system that you've got going, and even between knowing your good self as I'm beginning to get to know you now, and that creativity of yours, you'll be thinking you're already thinking of the fourth, let alone the fifth one. In between those big campaigns, you can sort of keep engaging and bring out your sort of new sections, as you say, to fit new evolving needs for it.
Yes, that's right.
I have to ask you, I mean, there's like, I think you mentioned in the interview that the reason why your idea came from you were the end customer at the start. Whenever you opened, you were like, we all have done, opened up our travel bag, and there's a mess,
Yeah.
like the shampoos exploded, right? So that was the idea of the travel bag. But there must be a other part of your entrepreneurial journey even before that, because like everything you've been talking about in the main interview and the deep dive and in this backstory really shows that you've got a background in developing ideas, doing things,
Yes.
and have a really acute business mind, Parker.
Yeah. I think I'm sure that I had businesses when I was a kid. I can't really remember what they are, but the first one that I remember was there's a company in Nashville, Tennessee called Southwestern, and they bring kids in for the summer and teach them how to sell books door to door. And I did that for 2 summers, and I did pretty well. And so, when you sell books door to door, you learn how to take the rejection and just how to talk to anybody. And I think that was great training. It was so hard. And then I've gone on and I've started several other companies. This was designed to be a side hustle. It really wasn't supposed to be anything. It's just that when I made the very first one, I had a friend who basically stole it. He said, I really like this. And then when I came back out, it was gone. And I thought, if somebody cares enough to steal it, then maybe I'm onto something. And so, can I show you the couple of versions that
Yes, please, Parker.
how it all started?
I love to see it, man.
All right, so I'll show you the airplane pictures if you want it, but all of this started from, it was about 20 years ago, I decided that I wanted to fly, and I found that flying was super, super expensive, and it was a whole lot cheaper if you owned your airplane, and the cheapest way to get an airplane was to build it. And so that seemed like flawless logic to me. So I bought a kit, and I set to work. It took about 3,400 hours to build this airplane. And then I got in it and I flew all over the country, just some, gorgeous places.
I have the page here. It's on the Indiegogo page. I'll just quickly share it so people know what we're talking about. There it is there. That's it there, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's not the plane because I sold the one years ago, but it is the exact same kind.
Fantastic.
And so we went up. This is over near Hayward in California, and it's 2 seats, pilot in front, passenger in back, and it could go anywhere. It was 600 miles. So you can go just about anywhere. So I carried tools because the places where I'd go is there's no mechanics. And so I would carry tools, and I made a tool roll to carry all those tools. And this is just made out of denim. It's whatever I could find. And I made it on my auntie's sewing machine. And as you can tell, it's not, it's not high end or anything. It's certainly gotten beat up. But then fast forward about 10 years and no more airplane. Now I've got kids, and I went on a trip and had one of those shampoo explosions. And I just thought, God, is this really the best we can do? And so what came out of that was a series that sort of resulted in this. So this is made out of a waxed canvas, and it has 8 pockets and a little zipper pocket over on the side, and then a leather strap. It was sort of designed to appeal to that classic waxed canvas leather look. And you basically take the leather strap, run it through the buckle, and then go backwards over a stud buckle. And this was pretty simple, but it raised $56,000 on Kickstarter. And so I thought, all right, well, I'm onto something there. And of course, the hole that I picked doesn't go through the stud buckle, but that's what it looks like when it's done. And then the next one, that was the first one where I pulled in backers, and I pulled in about 15 backers for a year of conversation. And that resulted in this one, which is very similar, but it's got a much more modern closure system. It was the first time we used an aluminum G-hook. We used these daisy chain of webbing right here. And we used modern materials, so you can basically throw the whole thing in the wash. And this is the one that sparked the group that said, what you carry is not what I carry. So figure out how to make a bag that's perfectly different for everybody. And that's where we are now.
Fantastic. And then let's just have a look again at the third bag and the sections that This is golden in terms of product iteration, you know, how you've evolved it, and now it really has, you can really see the how it has evolved. And then can we just pull the sections apart again, Parker, just so we can see that?
Here's one. I'm just pulling it apart like that.
Look at that. Wow.
And so you end up with 5 sections in the middle for now that you can put in any configuration you want. Plus there on the end, this is the closure section, and then there's a hanging section on the other end. So it's a pretty big variety, because you can not only, if you had all of them, it gets a little bulky, but if you can have all of them together in any order, and then any subset of them too. So you can go as big or as small as you want.
Fantastic. And I have to give, like, the setting of this interview sort of alludes to the practical side of your nature. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, so, I mean, like, let's look about that. I mean, you're very practical, or like, just going by the setting of the interview, you're very practical, hands-on type of guy. Is that been a part of your journey to get to manufacturing?
Yeah, I think it is. I like to make things. I like to solve problems. I like to get my hands dirty. And I was the first customer. You know, this thing was designed for me. I am the one that wants to carry different sections. I want to carry first aid in my car. I want to carry tools in my car. We don't have airplanes anymore, but we have sailboats, and things need to be carried on sailboats. And so, yeah, I think entrepreneurs do really well when they are the very first customer for what they use.
And have you really enjoyed the journey of developing Tego over these? How many years is it now?
It's been 5 years now. It's been probably 6, counting the, since the first prototype. I have loved it. I love talking to the customers. I love hearing about what they have to say and their usage. And I guess what I really love is, like, all right, how do we fix that? You know, like this whole idea of the sections was, it was driven by the customers, and we went back and forth in the channel, and we were like, okay, so it clearly needs to be sections, right? So, all right, what is in each section, and how do we design it? And then, this is like the 4th iteration of the section idea. Like, the first iteration was actually a Velcro backing, and I've got it around here somewhere. And you would then slap the pockets on top of the Velcro backing. And that was great, except that it was about this thick before you even started rolling it up. And so when you ended up rolling it up, even when it was empty, it was about, yay big. And so we went through a couple of iterations of hooks and things like that before finding these and standardizing on it. So there's 50 of these out with testers and media right now. And I'm eager to see what everybody has to say about it. And then, who knows where we go from here. I think we definitely create a ton of new sections. I think there's the opportunity to do a smaller one for sort of fitting into purses and day carry backpacks. I think there's the opportunity for super heavyweight for tools and things. And then the opportunity for super lightweight, like a Dyneema, really high performance fabric for heading off into the boonies. Those are just a few of the ideas.
Yeah, fantastic. I think, have you got a team around you now? Because it's like it's full on now, my friend.
I've got a crack design team, and I'm building up. My hope is that this campaign can be the transfer between what is essentially a side hustle into a real hustle. And I'll have to raise some more money. That's what I'm trying to figure out right now, to really grow it. But I'm trying to raise money for growth, to get into retail, and for some more product development.
Phenomenal. On that very, very positive note, I would like to thank Parker from Tego and his absolutely evolving story of the Tego travel bag. I just love it, my friend, and thank you so much for doing the main interview, the deep dive interview, and this backstory, inviting myself and the Talk Funders into your basement, I think, into your inner sanctuary, shall we say. It's been absolutely superb. So I'd just like to say all the links to the Indiegogo campaign and all of Parker's links, etc., will be in the video description below. Thank you so much for
Thank
your
you.
time. Thank you so much.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Bye bye now.
Bye now.